Well, let's dive in to Venezuela. This is not
What's
going
going on
away.
over there?
Oh, it's a little bit of trying to overthrow a president. You know, same old. You know, come up with a storyline that makes people get angry and excited and ready. And as Noam Chomsky says, manufacture consent. So they're pulling out all the stops. Just a refresher, guys. This is what's happening. Trump's Venezuela operation expands in the dark. And I actually have to disagree with the headline. It's not in the dark. It's pretending to be in the dark. And then all the media is giving us as if it's this like, we're going to give you this secret. No, they want it to come out like it's a secret, but it's not. U.S. military has killed at least 32 people in 7 strikes off the coast of Venezuela without telling Congress or the American people who was killed or on what evidence. Big picture, U.S. is 8 weeks into a military campaign in the Caribbean Sea with the twin aims of stopping drugs and potentially toppling Venezuela dictator Nicolas Maduro. Those are the 2 reasons, Craig. There's no other reason, and those aren't lies. Those aren't bald-faced lies. There's no other reason you could even think of that we'd want to topple Maduro. But those are the ones they're giving us, so I'm not going to think about anything else. Just drugs and dictator. Drugs and dictator. Okay, I'm all wired up. I'm ready to support this thing. So so the scene here, so the Trump, he deployed all these warships. There were spy planes, fighter jets, bombers, drones, all this crap, all off the coast. Last week, Trump confirmed he authorized, and this is why I don't think this isn't kind of covert. This is him. This is the point, was to say, hey, and to brag about it and to show us that these operations did go through with the B-52s. And it's not just the CIA, it's all of our intelligence capabilities. An insider discussed about the operations. The U.S. knows where Maduro is. Oh, and this is the little game they play. We could kill him right now if we wanted to.
Sure, you can.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you've tried a number of times, and you tried to do it with Chavez before him.
Castro, too.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, right. Yeah, this is...
How many times they tried to kill Castro? He died of old age.
Yep. And Chavez died of cancer. So there you go. You weren't able to actually murder these guys. So, Maduro looks like he's heading in that same direction. After an unexpected and unexplained departure of Southcom Commander Alvin Hosley, the caddis of strikes at sea on land in Venezuela could increase. Well, we know it's increasing. That's the point. So let's look at the latest strike. And this footage was being broadcast and shared on social media by our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. But here's the report on it.
Apparently, of what just happened. Now, this is courtesy of Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. This is the video.
Secretary of War, get it right.
That he shared from his post, and you can see what appears to be a vessel exploding in flames. You can also see the word unclassified at the top of this video. So we did want to share this with you as Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth just sharing this update. This comes as President Trump has declared drug cartels be unlawful combatants. And he says that the U.S. is now in an armed conflict with them. That is according to a Trump administration memo. So this memo appears to represent this incredible assertion where President Trump is effectively declaring that trafficking of drugs into the U.S. amounts to armed conflict requiring the use of military force. The memo says, quote, the president determined that the United States is in a non-international armed conflict with these designated.
And that was all wrong. These are not, we know who some of the people that were killed. The Guardian reported that 2 Trinidad men were believed to be killed. That actually got checked out. That got verified in this latest strike in the Caribbean. And they're saying there needs to be accountability. There needs to be due process, and they're demanding justice. These are 2 of the family members of 2 people that were killed. Had nothing to do with Venezuela or drug trafficking or anything. They were fishermen. Same thing happened on August 15th. This is a full report on the Colombian public media that reports that the strike on before that, on the 15th of September, also took out at least one of the 3 victims were confirmed to be a fisherman, Alexandra Carranza. And that identity was confirmed by his cousin. So they just keep murdering innocent people. and not having to account for it. Before you chime in, Craig, I'm going to just show, this is Samuel Moncada showing us what a scam this is and holding up the Guardian headline of the people, the innocent people that our U.S. president is murdering with no accountability to show for it.
The Guardian, a newspaper in Trinidad and Tobago, denouncing the killings of 2 humble fishermen yesterday or the day before in Trinidad. I mean, there is a killer roaming around the Caribbean, is bloodthirsty, is killing everyone which is on the sea working, and people from different countries, Colombia, Trinidad, etc., are suffering the effects of these massacres.
And there you have it. The world knows what's happening. The world's watching. We're the only ones that are apparently so stuck in our team, stuck in our blinders. We think it's all about no kings, and we have no clue that our entire Western media is in on this, and nobody on CNN or MSNBC, which you would think would be challenging this, they're all for it. They're all for, let's take out this dictator. Pasta, is any of this surprise you?
You know, I'm not too surprised, however, I am surprised by the reaction. And we had this conversation earlier today about what level of hero worshiping or team sports, what level are we at currently right now? Are the Republicans, the populist right, the Trumpers of sorts, are they acting the same manner as, let's say, a Joe Biden or a Barack Obama, where we were around a lot of those people in that clan at one point because we were believed that we were, lefties, whatnot, the compassionate ones, the anti-imperialist ones, before we realized the Democratic Party wasn't that. But when you see this situation, you got to ask yourself, why is this okay? If you talk to a Trumper and say, why is this okay? They'll give you the list of reasons that the Secretary of War, and by the way, great job of announcing his proper title, that that journalist or that political commentator or special TV person, interchangeable talking mouth, didn't get it right, because that's what they want to call themselves. And that's the mentality right there. And, it's very easy to propagandize people. And I got to say this, it's the same exact thing we see on the left. We see it right now on the right. They go along with things that are against the Constitution, what our principles are supposed to stand for. I mean, what's on that piece of paper, the marketing, it's some good marketing. However, we never follow it. And whoever's in office, they'll just go along with doing what they think is right. And further along, at the end of the day, when you take away civil liberties, when you commit crimes on immigrants or foreigners, it never stops there. The chickens will always come home to roost and happen to us. So why is it okay? Right? And you'll hear all the reasons out there. No, they're bringing fentanyl in there. I was looking at my phone over here. I was pulling up a map just to see with my own eyes the distance it is between Venezuela and, the United States. It is so far. Now, you can make an argument that they're going to send it to Haiti, and through Haiti, they're going to send it to there and go whatever and stuff like that. But they're blowing up these vessels without any due process, without any evidence that they're presenting to us, and just saying the language is there again, right, Matt? I mean, the right does the same thing as the left. These are narco terrorists. These vessels are so far away from our country or getting any drugs. And they're speedboats. How much drugs are they really bringing in anyways? I know people go, oh, in the hull and this and that. No, they're killing fishermen. They're killing locals. There's all these little islands in Venezuela, and all these speedboats go right through all these islands all the time. They just move them back and forth, where people do commerce and move goods and services, so you have to ask yourself, why are they doing this? We have to ask the people, why is it okay? And we have to hit them there. All the constitutionalists, right? Aren't we supposed to stand for due process? Isn't that the thing that's the backbone of what America stands for? Hey, we're civilized. We're not like any other countries where these dictators, these authoritarians, they're the ones who judge people. We're different. We give you your due process. You're innocent until proven guilty. You have a right to make a claim of your innocence, to state your case. But we're not even doing that. So we understand that they're wrong by saying it's okay, because once again, it's their thoughts, it's their ideology. They can piss and shit all over the Constitution as long as it's their team and it's for their needs. But we also have to ask ourselves, why are they doing this? Well, I would say, Matt, and people have to kind of look at this, is that it's another form of sanctions and turning the country against each other. They want to make it so people can't live, and they're starving them out. Now they can't move from island to island, moving goods and services around, can't make money, whatnot. They want to shut it down. They want to make the conditions so bad that the people will overturn their government. And just like every single president is told by the CIA, they're this close, Matt. They're going to buckle. We're going to get it. They've been talking about that shit for Chavez and Maduro for years. They were talking about that shit with Fidel Castro for years. So this is why I think they're doing it. And this information has to be brought to light. And then we have to also talk about on the flip side. Well, if we look at all the reasons why they are doing it, why they say it's okay, the people out there, why are so many people addicted to fentanyl in the first place? We know it's big pharma. Yeah. I'm sure we'll get there. But there's all these reasons, all these talking points. And the shame about it is the language that the TV is using, the people on the TV screen, they're using the same propagandized CIA regime change, industrial complex language that they always use. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting. You were doing that segment on what was going on in the West Bank, what was going on in Israel and stuff. It's disgusting. It's happening on our dime. We have blood on our hands. Well, in Venezuela, we got dynamite on our hands as we're blowing up these boats, and there's no justification, Matt.
Yeah. Let's look closer at the fentanyl situation here, because this, again, this is a scam. You guys, if you understand how the war on drugs works, is that we fund the operations, the CIA, we are the ones responsible for the entire thing, for the crack epidemic in the 80s. The list is so long. We create the border crisis with this. We create these situations where there are refugees that have to leave these places that we try to overthrow, and we blame them for drug cartel, illegitimate presidents. So we're just going through the same blueprint. The only difference between what we do in these Latin American countries versus Middle East, the only difference is you can't blame Maduro for weapons of mass destruction. So you call him a illegitimate drug cartel king that we have to take out.
Narco-terrorist.
Yes, terrorist. Yes, drug terrorist. And then you put the fentanyl thing in play. And this is how they do it. And they can get the Fox News audience. They're the first ones to sign up for this. Here's Eric Trump on Fox getting the Fox News audience very scared of fentanyl coming from Venezuela. Here we go.
Now, every single time a boat goes out of Venezuela, it's get blown up into a million pieces, Martha. That's exactly what's happening every single day. I personally have 4 friends that have lost children to fentanyl. This is real life for all of us. I mean,
So that's just a little, planting a seed. I went over to CNN to see what they're doing on CNN, and you got Scott Jennings doubling down on this in this table discussion. It's pretty brutal what he tries to justify here. Again, CNN, if you guys think they're this middle of the road covering all sides, no, this is the war machine in action. Listen to Scott Jennings. Here we go.
Venezuela is a different kind of country. It's not really a real country. It's a narco-terrorist state. In his first term, he unleashed economic sanctions on them. We put a bounty on Maduro. I mean, we did all the things short of going to war with Venezuela to stop them from importing drugs into the United States. It did not work. They have continued to be a narco-terrorist state. They continue to flood drugs into the United States and dangerous people. And so one of the things about the America First movement and the MAGA movement is in Middle America, they believe our government has not taken a hard enough line against people who have put deadly drugs into this country. They promised this. And honestly, I think he's going to have a lot of political support for stopping these narco-terrorists.
So, yeah, that's going to be continued. That verbiage is going to continue on.
What did she say? Do you have the rest of that thing? I want to see.
Oh, you want to hear her try to?
Yeah. Because Scott Jennings
this is that. You know what? Let me
channel right.
Her response is very interesting. Okay, let's hear it, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, here we go.
That should be what Trump says, not blaming it on drug trafficking, which is a relatively minor issue compared to drug trafficking that comes from Mexico.
Well, how much do you want to accept? I think you're downplaying.
I know, it's not a how much do you want to accept.
I think you're downplaying.
Where is the problem coming from? And it's coming from Mexico.
I think you're.
So you see how she's doing? She's doing the stop making up about Venezuela. It's really Mexico. Where we're saying you're going, no, all of it is we're the one. She'll never mention. Nobody in that table is going to mention the CIA creating this problem in all the countries. That's the problem. No one's going to say that.
And she's selling a lie too, as well, that Mexico and the cartels are producing fentanyl and bringing in. I'm sure there are some fentanyl that they are bringing in, but it's not coming in across the border. This isn't smuggled in a woman right now. You know what I'm saying? And like we've talked about this before, fentanyl is easy to make. It's not like speed. It's very easy. All you have to do is get the minerals and the materials. A lot of it does come from China. Hey, 95% of the drugs in the hospital business, in the pharmacy field, in the medical field, come from 95% of the drugs come from the ground in China. So, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but to be honest with you, number one, we have to talk about why there's so many people are addicted to the fentanyl situation to begin with, right? Which is big pharma. Their doctors, a man in a white suit gives you some opioids, stimulants, whatnot. Yep. They say, this is the problem. Take this pill. You get addicted. Then they cut you off. And then you have to go out and find shit for yourself. So that's the problem. Mexico, once again, she's trying to say it's coming in from Latin America. So her answer to me is worse than his answer because he's just giving you the bullshit lines trying to sell you that stuff. She's just telling you another CIA. She's in a way justifying it by trying to pick this fake fight and saying, well, it's coming in from Mexico. This is the problem. No, it's not. That's another CIA fucking tale. Whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't it genius that you can get a CNN audience to think that this is an honest debate happening and you're getting both sides? It's pretty remarkable. They pull this off. And a lot of people, whoever still watches CNN, they're certainly going to tell you, oh, I'm getting both sides. Look at them having this. No, they're just, this is all theater to protect they're both protecting the same mechanism, right?
Yes. And the thing is, it's two major points. Number one, it's big pharma that got our citizens addicted to these type of drugs anyways to begin with, right? And number two, the biggest purveyor of illegal drugs that kills so many people in the world is the CIA. And we know this. It hasn't changed. It's still going on. The cartels can't operate inside the United States without the help of the CIA. They did it in Iran-Contra. They did it in Syria. They've been doing it for God knows how long. There was a black market over there. I mean, it's just, that's who's doing it. And if we really want to solve this problem, we'd say, number one, let's look at big pharma and let's look at these SSRIs. Like I said, the Kennedy people out there, where's your boy on this? Where's your boy on this going? This is a red herring. Donald Trump is wrong. If we want to fix the problem, let's fix it at its source. Let's stop prescribing these stimulants and opioids to our citizens. Let's find a way to get them healthier without these harmful drugs. Because once they're addicted, they're in it for good. And it doesn't make a difference where the fentanyl is coming from. They'll start making it in their own fucking basement for that matter because they need it, you know? And if we want to straighten this out, let's just, once again, let's look at the CIA. Donald Trump, I heard one of the press secretaries or one of his spokespersons says that Donald Trump has given permission for the CIA to conduct more covert actions in Venezuela. Big news. We've been doing it all along.
Yeah, it's been the whole time. It's just,
it's funny now at this point.
Yeah, man. It's pretty funny. So Adam chimes in here. Don't fall for the Venezuela psyop. The U.S. government doesn't care about drugs. They sell drugs. In 2001, the Taliban eradicated opium production. NATO invaded and restored it. Really? In 2023, the Taliban eradicated production again. But fentanyl is cheaper than another invasion. And then if you go down to this Troy guy, this is the capture, right? Because fentanyl is killing tens of thousands of Americans a year. Okay, that part is true. And a lot of the terrorists pumping that crap into our country either reside or do business there. And that is in reference to Venezuela. Glenn Greenwald chimes in. Genuinely scary how many people have become convinced overnight to claim fentanyl comes into the U.S. due to Venezuela, even though Venezuela has basically nothing to do with the entrance of fentanyl into the U.S., as U.S. government reports make clear. Frighteningly easy to sell new wars. 100% right there, Glenn. And if you guys really want to look at the problem, it is here. We're not saying, obviously, we do have a fentanyl problem, and it's a matter of, did we do this to ourselves? And unfortunately, the answer is yes. This is what LA looks like. So you guys, and Craig, I don't know if you've seen this. This is what LA looks like right now under Newsom's watch. So this is the actual results of fentanyl use. It looks like we're on set of a zombie movie, and these are extras rehearsing the scene before they get into costume and makeup. And that's not what this is. This is not a film set. This is real. And you might ask yourself, well, what is going on? Why are they all looking like a bunch of contortionists that are frozen? This is the result of the drug fentanyl. So we're not saying in any means that this is not a problem. We're telling you guys to put the red flag up and understand that we create the problem ourselves to justify our imperialism outside of this country. So we're doing this to ourselves. We have to fight back against us, not another country. That's what I'm saying. So this is real. It's pretty sick, and pretty sad, I'd say. And this is not just an isolated part of LA. This is all over. And if you go downtown, you'll see just block after block of this. There's particular intersections where there's more condensedness of this, and then the other parts where it's just spread out. But this is a massive, massive problem right now.
And a lot of people on the right will say, this is what's happening in our blue cities. They're just doing this is crazy crime. We got to crack down. We got to send in the National Guard. All their methods for fixing the problems that we really have are just money grabbing, bullshit, authoritarian, ways of empowering themselves and not really helping our citizens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just disgusting,
Yeah. Meanwhile, we know that, Donald Trump wanted the Nobel Peace Prize. He didn't get it. But you know who did?
It's Maria Corina Machado. This is ridiculous too, as well. I don't know if you have the famous video. I can grab it of her and Chavez going back and forth. It's it's a really good piece. You know what I'm saying? It's small, but I can grab it real quick while you.
Yeah, why don't you grab it? And in the meantime,
I want people to understand who this woman is, where she came from, whatnot. She wasn't able to run in the last election because she was receiving backdoor financing from the West. And you can't do that. Just like we have our FARA Act. They have other rules that say, and this is what's going on. This is the way the CIA uses the media to say, well, this is a form of election rigging. They didn't let her run. Well, if you're getting a check from the United States, it's just like if you were getting a check from the Chinese, you wouldn't be able to run here. You can get a check from Israel. Can't get a check from the Chinese. But I'll go grab that video, by the way.
Okay. While you're grabbing it, I'm going to play the reaction from Colombia's president, Gustavo Petro, and he's going to tell you about why this fentanyl situation, it's a scam. It's a complete scam, and the American people need to realize that because everybody else in the world does. Okay, here we go. The weapons of any army in the world cannot be used against humanity. I said so on the streets of New York. I repeated on this program, and even less so in the Caribbean Sea, and even less so against innocent Colombians and fishermen. What's happening in the U.S. is that fentanyl consumption is growing. It's a domestic policy in the U.S., and it must adopt to save its society. But by addressing the issue in the Caribbean Sea, which has nothing to do with fentanyl, what the U.S. is demonstrating is that what it wants is the oil of Venezuela. Oil greed is behind the strategy. And dropping missiles on fishermen. Fishermen on the island of Trinidad and Tobago have already died under a missile. There's a video of the boat that wasn't sailing at sea, but had its engines up and was therefore stationary and was hit by a missile. There are young fishermen who left their homes in Santa Marta and haven't returned. So this is the accountability we're going to have to get from another president of another country that can go on camera and tell us what's going on. Isn't it funny? And you mentioned RFK Jr. We don't have anybody here going on a national broadcast and telling the country what's going on. We have to go get it from another president, another official in another country going on their national airways and telling their people what's going on. It's too bad we have such a captured media that we can't see that. We can't turn on these mainstream channels and see any of this being discussed. So
it'd be interesting to see what happens with Colombia, because behind the scenes, even though Gustavo Petro is more of a reformist, leftist kind of candidate, he still won within their own country, and I was there for their elections. For instance, the Communist Party of Colombia came in to speak to us. Fiorella actually translated for the gentleman, and we talked. They weren't even crazy about Gustavo Petro. He was the compromise candidate. He's been known to do stuff with the Clinton Foundation before. He was, I think, the mayor of Bogota. So he does have connections within the establishment, but he does have an arm out for the people. And his vice president is definitely more of a socialist, leftist, grassroots. And her name is, I forgot. Oh, my God. I forgot what her name is. Marquez, I think, I believe it is. She's more of an environmental activist and whatnot. So it's always interesting because behind the scenes, the weapon sales to Colombia still have been going on. They weren't pulled. And Colombia still is the only Latin American country that has special NATO status. So it's very interesting to see Gustavo Petro at times like this come out. Is it virtue signaling or is it for real? You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's going to cut ties completely, even though Donald Trump says he's going to cut ties. Behind the scenes, Donald Trump won't do that because Colombia buys more weapons from the United States than any Latin American country by far, Matt. By far. So it's a very interesting situation where you have to look behind the scenes.
You do. What I'm saying is it's nice to hear those very clear sentiments, two very clear, distinct points that you're not hearing on nobody that hates Trump. See, this is the reveal, guys. If you haven't understood by now, if you really think that it's about stopping Trump, the no kings, then you would get these 2 points being said right now on MSNBC and CNN. They're not. They're not telling you that we're in Venezuela for the oil, and they're not telling us that fentanyl does not hang out in the Caribbean Sea. They would be telling us that if it really was about stopping the lone, uniquely evil King Trump, because he's the problem, not our entire U.S. imperialist system, which the mainstream supports and defends. That's the thing. That's the reveal right there. So let's look those Karens go up to people with Palestinian flags. Sorry for cutting you off, buddy.
No. Seeing these Karens go up to these people with Palestinian flags and tell them to get rid of it was kind of fucking telling to this whole situation. You know, it's crazy. I think that, you know, look, we have a responsibility as the media to hold power accountable. Donald Trump's in office right now. The Republicans own everything. They're making the policies that will go. They're the ones handing over the security, our data over to the security state and giving them more powers. That is true. But we have to be ready for the rebound when Gavin Hansen comes around, right? And all these Democrats, these no kings, that's what they're planning on doing. What they're looking at with these no kings protests is they want to identify the sheep. Both the right and the left convince the stupid, the dumb, the low-informed voter out there about their politics from their ideology for their side, and they get their consent, and that's how they rule. The people who have half a brain, who understand what's going on, who really do want peace and prosperity, they're the ones who are shut out, and it doesn't make a difference what they say. So that means that our voices have to be louder. I have this video of Maria Corina Machado, and this is in the congressional body of Venezuela when she addressed Chavez. I think this is like 10 years ago, and I count it low, and I will read too as well.
Okay.
How can I talk to you about respecting the private sector in Venezuela when you've been accused of stealing? And Chavez is stealing? Yes, stealing the properties of business people, of merchants, even small guest houses whose owners haven't even been compensated. Tell Venezuela the truth. There is a decent Venezuela here that wants a profound transformation, and this is the time to face the seriousness and the responsibility of the historic challenge ahead of us. Your time is up. This is time for the new Venezuela. Yes, accept the debate, President. So Chavez, he says, fine. First, I suggest you win the primaries, right? Win the primary. That's the first thing you have to do. Because you're not on the level to debate with me. And they're going crazy. You're not on that level. I'm very sorry about that. I'm very sorry about that. Win your primaries. Since you went so far as to call me a thief, you called me a thief in front of the country. I won't cause you offense. An eagle doesn't hunt flies, Congresswoman. Very well. An eagle doesn't hunt flies. And of course, they sold it as this is Maria Corina Machado confronting Hugo Chavez for his sins and whatnot. And, you know, in the election integrity world, this is one of the big things that, you know, what's his name? Rudy Giuliani. And I forgot her name, the tall Texas woman who had the Epstein files. This is the lie they pushed, that Venezuela was the boogeyman out there, fixing our elections, stealing our elections. People like Owen Schroyer, people like Alex Jones, people like Nick Fuentes, they've repeated these lies, right? You know what I'm saying? They are not the boogeyman. They are just another, once again, presented boogeyman by the security state and the military-industrial complex so they can flourish in their business. And like Gustavo Petro said, whether you agree with it or not, this isn't about narco-terrorism. This is about Earl, Matt. It's Earl.
No,
which is
look,
American for oil.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So look, Pasta, we talk about how Trump is Obama 2.0. It's just for the right. This hero worship. We've been talking hero worship. Let's I'm gonna try and finish this segment on a positive, maybe you can say over optimistic, but I have to say that even with these people in place, even with these, like you mentioned, the Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes, they're going to be pushing Venezuela no matter what. That's the job, is stop communism, right? That's they're never going to let up on that. The war machine can be challenged, but only in certain ways, not in that way. Listen, there are people in the Trump camp, the people that voted for Trump, that have had, frankly, enough of this, and they're being vocal about it. And I actually don't remember people being this vocal when Obama was taking us into all of these wars. He upped the war count by 5 after we elected him to stop 2 wars. But what happened was most of us went to sleep. And I'm not saying that of course there's Trumpers that went to sleep. There's a lot of Trumpers that went to sleep. They're just happy that Trump got elected and he's doing his second term. They're not actually paying attention. They're not looking at what's happening in Venezuela right now. They don't have the capacity, and I'm not giving them a free pass. I'm saying we used to be them. There were people in 2012, 2013 in that second term of Obama. Once he got through that second election, they were, the Mitt Romney. No one even remembers the Mitt Romney election because it was he coasted through it. And then people, if they weren't asleep already, they went right back to sleep and they hibernated for the next several years. And so we didn't see what was going on. So what I'm saying is I want to give at least a little credit to those, that other group. There's a third group in the Trump side that are paying attention. And they're seeing this and they're going, what the F is this? You said deep state. Don't you effing tell me that Venezuela doesn't count as the CIA and the drug planting and the creating these wars. Don't you tell me that that's something that you didn't tell us you were going to be challenging. So they're not buying it. And every once in a while we see big Trump voices shout about this. And again, we're only into the first year of the second term. So I like seeing when people do this. Here's one of them, the patriotic blonde, just today. Patriots. And she's talking to the Trump base. Patriots, I have come to a conclusion. Trump is not suddenly incompetent. Trump is not simply misguided. Trump is not just being too trusting of the wrong people. Trump is not being poorly advised. Trump was a psyop. We fell for it. One world government incoming. And I pass it to you, Craig, but I want to tell you my optimism here, seeing this being said out loud. She deserves a little applause because this is going out to other people that are going to read this, and they're going to maybe stop and think, and hopefully more people do that than we did not do during the Obama terms. And I wish we had. I wish I was paying more attention at the time. But yeah, go ahead.
The Patriot Blonde looks pretty over there. She's looking for reform, right? I can help reform you, Patriot Blonde. Look me up. Look me up. And you said people were out to where? You were saying people were out off the map or in the beginning of your...
People are asleep. They're hibernating because the hero, we talked about hero worshiping, the hero that they blood, sweat, and tears on the ground, boots on the ground. Remember Obama? We were like, the people's movement, hope and change, that whole thing.
Yeah. Well,
most people went to sleep when their hero got in. Yeah. And I'm saying, I know that there's Trumpers that went to sleep. I get that. And they're not being diabolical. They're not being racist. They're not being these things. They just went to sleep. But there's a third group that this Patriot Blonde is representing, a third group I don't think we really had in our Obama days. It's a third group saying, wait the hell minute. Whoa. What the F are you doing? Well, the only explanation, what she's saying is the only explanation is that you were a psyop the whole time. I applaud her being able to say that just into the first year, not even at the first year of the second term.
Well, I learned a lesson to write down everything so I can tell my joke properly. Because when you were saying they went to sleep, I was trying to say I went to brunch. And I got but I mean, listen, I would argue with you and say that, when Obama was president, we didn't have the internet presence we have today, right? Everything's on the internet now. Twitter wasn't a thing. Facebook was barely even invented. People were on MySpace when Obama was the president. So I think it's a different time. I still feel that, there wasn't as many people in the Obama side that were as loud as some of these people right now. And me and you have even agreed that these people just are a lot louder than some of the people on the left. But they haven't had any serious heads. Even when we talk about Charlie Kirk, God rest his soul, because I don't want to piss on his grave at all. But even when we talk about Charlie Kirk, the argument we had was what? That he's moderately stepping out. He's still coming out there. The majority of the people out there, you talk to people other than like a Dave Smith or the Patriot Blonde, that if you ask them if you will vote for Donald Trump today, would you still do it? The majority of the people, the Alex Jones, the Owen Schroyers, all those people will tell you that, yeah, they would still vote for him as the lesser of two evils. I don't think that stands true for people like me and yourself when it came to Obama. We'd say, hey, no, absolutely not. We did fall for it twice. You fell for it twice. But I think we had more of a coming to Jesus moment. We had more people like a Cornel West standing out there, people like Harry Belafonte expressing what Obama was. More independent journalists, I think, were writing out, pushing back against Obama than we have with Donald Trump. Now, we don't know for sure. We have no metrics of weighing this, but I'm still nervous out there. I was just in Texas, and it's the same old with the conservatives and the populist right. They're the same thing. They're just regenerated to be something different. They act like they're anti-war. It's just they want their specific wars. And this whole genocide in Israel, it did start under Joe Biden. That is true, but he was quickly ushered out, and it was handed off to Donald Trump because he would see it across the finish line. And there is so much blood on our hands. And not only that, even if you were to remove that issue, every single other issue, there's so many more of them where he checks the list as far as betrayal. Oh, the security state, censorship, our data, our information, the technocrats, check. I mean, he's just handed it over to these people. Just a couple weeks ago, he's talking about a biometric system for people coming in and out, using the fear of immigrants to manufacture consent. And guess what? The conservatives are buying it. So even though there are small voices out there, I think it's going to be left up to a lot of us who can reach across that aisle, who still have relationships with people on the right, because that's the beautiful thing about Pastor Jardula and Matt Weinglass, is that we'll talk to anybody. We're not going to demonize anybody. And by using this tactic of not demonizing people, we can hopefully get them to open up and see what's really going on. There's no such thing as two parties. It's one party serving the same masters. And at the end of the day, both sides hate us. They don't care about us. They don't care if we live or die. And they want complete ownership and destruction of this world.